Hello friends, welcome to ELS English Literature Studies with Kaur Harpreet. Today we'll discuss Cry the Peacock by Anita Desai. Anita Desai has been writing some of the best English language fiction in India for almost 4 decades. She has been shortlisted for the Man Booker Prize thrice, and she also won the Sahitya Academy Award, one of India's most prestigious literary prizes, in 1978 for her second novel, right? When we talk about Anita Desai, she talks about feminism through her literature. And feminism was like a medium to her to speak about female problems, and through their works, we can say it is through their works that the world came to know about the problems, and so the feminine feminism in India has flourished, right? Then, when we talk about Anita Desai no doubt came into the literary world by a storm with the publication of this novel Cry the Peacock in 1963. In 1963. And the title of this novel belongs to the exciting dance of the peacock at the approach of rain bearing clouds. When we talk about feminism in Anita Desai's novel Cry the Peacock, Maya, breaking the barriers of conventionality, fearlessly fights to assert her points of view, right? And this very first novel has made Anita Desai establish herself as an excellent artist, like novelist, focusing special attention on the problems of feminine sensibility. And this novel begins with the death of Maya's pet dog Toto, which upsets her so terribly that she seeks consolation from her husband. The most recurrent theme in Anita Desai's novels is the complexities in man-woman relationship, then the founding and nurturing of individuality and the establishing of individualism. Right? Then marital discord. This also recurs as a theme of the novels of Anita Desai. Her novels, with the touch of feminist concern, portray the failed marriage relationship, which often leads to alienation and loneliness of the characters, right? Her novels like Cry the Peacock, then we have Where Shall We Go This Summer, Bye Bye Blackbird, Voices in the City. All these deal with the theme of marital disharmony, right? And this novel, Cry the Peacock, this discusses richly the mind of Maya in feminine framework. Feminism is deeply into feeling and sensation. Maya and Gotham both are opposed to each other. Maya represents the extremities of feminine principles, and Gotham represents masculine principles, right? Maya feels desperate and depotentiated because even after 4 years of marriage, she is not happy with her husband, right? And her relationship with her husband, with her father, brother, these reflects archetypal feminism. The novel is mainly concerned with the theme of disharmony. The novel is concerned with the disharmony between husband and wife relationship. Anita Desai looks into the reasons for marital discord, and she illustrates how such discord affects the family. Sometimes the inability of an individual to be responsive to the behavior pattern of his or her partner leads to tension in the relationship. And while sometimes such relationships, we can say these relationships, is we can say is outcome of that strained behavior, right? Then, when we talk about characters of this novel, Maya and Gotham both have strained relationship because of their incompatible temperament, right? Maya is dreamy, sensitive, emotional, while Gotham is totally opposite. He is realistic, insensitive, and rational. Maya is poetic and high strung. Gotham is detached, philosophical, and remote. Maya has tenderness, softness, and warmth, and Gotham is hard and cold. And the matrimonial bonds that bind the two are very fragile, and later on, this growing tension between them reaches its climax, right? The chief protagonist, Maya, she is a spoiled and pampered daughter of a wealthy Brahmin, and she is married to Gotham, a rather insensitive, pragmatic, and rational advocate who fails to understand her sensitive nature, right? and she suffers from father obsession, and she looks for the typical father image in her husband. Being the most sensitive woman, Maya suffers from neurotic fears and marital disharmony. Her neurosis, growth, development, and crisis, all these are painted in all the three parts of the novel. Maya has developed a father fixation, and after her marriage, she finds Gotham as a poor substitute. And Gotham proves just a medium to reach her father in her unconscious mind somewhere, right? And naturally, they simply, we can say, maintain this matrimonial bonds. To Maya, freedom is not possible unless she, we can say, removes her impression of Gotham in her inner consciousness. She strikes at Gotham's reflection in the mirror and she tries to kill him. This shows a gradual transformation of her character into criminal. But the novelist here dramatizes the character and she also dramatizes the situation simply to give a clear shape to the inner self of Maya. And thus she proves a medium for reflecting experience, right? Maya here seems to be self seeking for a change in life. She connects her present with the past and she tries to go into sheltered life. And efforts by her husband to heal up her internal wounds fail as her consciousness gives it a dramatic turn. Her continuous longing for something fails to establish complete communication with reality in life. She continues to suffer from the feeling of suffocation. She continues to suffer from the feeling of disassociation of her inner self even after the sugar coated pills of relief which were given to her by her husband Gotham. Maya is very much obsessed with the prophecy of disaster, and in the very beginning, she longs for the company of her husband. Soon after the death of Toto, right, and that I already discussed, that she finds consolation. She sat there sobbing and waiting for her husband to come. After the death of her pet dog Toto, she wants to revert back to her childhood memories to escape her present, right, and in this crisis, her consciousness seizes sensations of color, smell, or sound. Maya's loneliness and isolation, her aching heart, and gradual deterioration of psyche. All these things make her an emotionally disturbed character, taking her to world of feminine sensibility. And this fear of loneliness and the spell of darkness separate both Maya and Gotham, right? Even the sky does not seem to give her an inescapable fact of life. She seeks meaning in a dark universe. And the cry of the peacock, and at the same time, the cry of Maya frustrates her within. And the world appears to her like a toy, specially made for her, painted in her favorite colors and set according to her tunes. Right? The world appears her to like that, similar to the monsoon peacock dancing madly and crying for its lover, and finally killing itself in a frenzy of love. Maya's heart cracks up with the presumption of same helplessness. Right? In fact, the title Cry the Peacock conveys Maya's neurotic sense of life, her mental working, her agony and death. There is always conflict between Maya's conscious and unconscious mind, that is between life and death, right? The temperamental difference between Maya and Gotham leads to marital discard, as Maya likes to enjoy life to the utmost, while Gotham is a rational kind of person. Whenever Maya's sensuousness tends to be sensual, her needs are again left unanswered by her elderly husband Gotham. Still, she controls and watches her other self, which dominates at the end, and the dance within her becomes more and more feverish. She is no longer sane, she is borne by doubts and dread, and the atmosphere around her that indicates subhuman existence, right? Or we can say her hopelessness is not that of an individual, but it spreads and becomes universal. Her neurosis is somewhat collective and it poses a definite danger to the identity of woman as a whole. The mental agonies, the then tensions in her mind, all these show miseries of her existence and narrow down the poetic beauty of her life. She continues to lead an explosive life, and her feminine consciousness is felt from the bottom to the top. And she comments, that is why later on she comments on her unsuccessful married life also, right? And whenever Maya discloses her mind to her husband, he does not appreciate her, he does not understand her. On the contrary, he rejects the things outright. He calls her a neurotic, he calls her a spoiled baby. Because of that, she feels that she should never sleep in peace. Therefore, she turns hysteric over the creeping fear of death, and she has no rest anymore, only death and waiting, right? And she admits herself, admits when she says, torture, guilt, dread, imprisonment, these were the four walls of my private hell, and one that no one can could survive in long. Death was certain. These are the lines, these are the lines in which Maya admits all these things, that torture, guilt, death, and imprisonment, these are the four walls of her private hell, right? And at many places one could see Maya's changing psychic states and her changing moods. She lacks something to communicate. Her intense pain, we can say, that is revealed in her words, right? And she seems to cherish always a continuous longing for something which is impossible for her to attain, that is not possible for her. And Gotham fails to understand his wife, he fails to understand her feelings. Maya desires to idolize her marital love, establishing a communion, a unity, right? A communion and a unity with her husband's mind, soul, body. Her desire is not fulfilled. There is something lacking in her, which she sees far from her goal. And this emotional stability she wants to capture, but all her efforts fail miserably. And this emotional alienation between Maya and Gotham makes her fight with the courage of a new woman to assert her points. Her desire is not fulfilled, and therefore it leads to despair, frustration, it leads to alienation, it leads to, we can say, psychic disorder, and finally insanity. And her morbidity forces her to kill her husband, and then she commits suicide, right? In this novel, Anita Desai, as a feminist, has portrayed Maya, a woman as a social class who is exploited in her private life. She feels oppressed, and her personal feelings and emotions are ignored, suppressed by her husband in this male dominated society. Anita Desai, as a feminist novelist, has depicted Maya as a female protagonist with her heightened physical, sexual, emotional, and romantic needs. But there is difference in temperament of both, a difference in temperament of husband and wife, and this temperamental gap leads to alienation, despair, and frustration. However, Maya asserts her identity and individuality. She longs, claims, she reclaims for love of her husband and even initiates for it, but all in vain, and therefore it breeds boredom, loneliness, neurosis, suffering, and finally it intensifies Maya's insanity, right? It is the absence of a companion on our way to the final end which becomes the cause for the mounting desperation. Maya is a heroine from the feminist perspective. She struggles to maintain that identity even though at odds with the society around her. Maya's feminism is a struggle for personal fulfillment, encountering the female stereotype of her friends and the expectations and criticism of her husband. As a heroine with feminine sensibility, Maya dares to maintain her individualism despite lack of support from friends, despite lack of support from family, from religion, right? And labeling Maya insane as a result of killing her husband, therefore marginalize her resistance to subservience and her effort for self identification, right? In this novel, Anita Desai is found presenting Maya as the dissenting female fighting against three traditional forces in her life. First is male authority expressed by her husband, then her female friends who are playing stereotypical submissive wife roles, right? Her female friends who are playing as a submissive wives, then her religion's beliefs in karma and detachment, right? So friends, this is all about today's topic. I hope you will like the content, and if you like it, please hit the bell button and hit the like button and the bell button so that you can get notifications from my upcoming videos. Thanks a lot for watching.